Hey guys, what's going on? We're back after Colin Morikawa's absolute domination of the Open Championship. He threw me off, he threw all of us off after saying that he couldn't hit through the turf over there, was really having struggles, even changed some clubs in his bag. But he obviously came out, hit 130 absolute piss missiles over the last two rounds. Didn't really hit a bad shot at all, in my opinion. And when he did, he had a great up and down game. So hats off to him, didn't make any mistakes, and that's exactly what you have to do to win a major championship. I was obviously really hoping Spieth would come through, win that golf tournament. I had a bet on him. I had some of my DFS lineups, especially my really good ones with him. Didn't pan out. We still had a profitable week though, so can't complain on that front. Not only was the Open fun though, but the Barbasol gave us Seamus Power, finally a PGA Tour winner. He's somebody who's been a darling of the DFS community, somebody I've won a lot of money on as well. So glad to see him, pulling through there and getting that full-time status. This week though, we have the 3M Open. Believe it or not, the 3M Open was the first ever golf tournament that I decided to do an analysis for. I'd been playing PGA DFS, had been doing my own analytics, my own shots gained models on the side. But when the 3M Open came around, I thought it was the perfect opportunity to put out my first ever content. At that time, it was a written blog. I put out my course breakdown, some of my favorite plays in each range, even gave my hard projections at that point. I was putting them up on my blog, so you guys missed out if you didn't catch them out then. I was giving you guys all of the data behind the scenes. And I really thought it was a good place to start because of the unknown. It was a golf tournament we'd only seen one time before, Matthew Wolff winning. And I just thought it was a great opportunity to take down a course that nobody had seen before. I'm somebody who relishes the opportunity to take on the unknown, to try and characterize a golf course before a lot of people are comfortable doing so. And a lot of that's to do with that unknown. A lot of people aren't willing to take strong stances. They more spread out their player pool. They don't make strong assumptions about the golf course. And that gives you a really good opportunity to win some money. If you go out, you have strong correlations, you use the same process that you use week to week, and you happen to get it right, these are the kind of weeks where it could be much easier to take down a GPP or win a lot of money. So I think it's a great opportunity. I did last year. We ended up being profitable last year as well. So now with even more experience on our belts, 2 years of data, I think it's going to be even better for our DFS results. And we're going to be implementing this same strategy that we do on a week-to-week basis. If you're new to the channel, if you're not sure how my modeling works, I use a data-based approach, usually in golf, employed around shots gained data to help characterize players, golf courses, to determine the best fits for any given golf tournament. I have experience as an engineer. I use a lot of the techniques and tools that I've picked up over the years to help take on daily fantasy sports, to help make my projections, predictions, all that fun stuff for you guys. I create models, visualizations, etc. to help take on not just the PGA Tour, not just golf, but also a lot of other sports in the DFS sphere. I also cover the NBA, the NFL. We'll be getting some content out for the NFL over the next few days here. Also the UFC and even more. So if you're looking for more database content, not just for golf, you can check out my channel. I have a ton to offer for you guys. On top of my video content, for the PGA Tour, I also have a Patreon page. It's just $1 for the month. You get my projection for every single player in the field. So just like I said before, I do project every player in the field, not just their projected points, their winning percentage. I also predict their projected ownership, about some game theory notes, etc. Just like you saw on my blog last year, if you guys check it out for the 3M Open, all that data is going to be on my Patreon for this week's event. My goal, again, it's only $1. It's a really good value, is to give you guys all the tools to make your own lineups, give you guys some of my sentiment on players, some of the narratives that I'm seeing, perhaps some game theory notes as well, to give you guys a more profitable DFS week. So again, check that out. The link is going to be in the description. Super cheap. Again, I think it's a great value. Make sure to join before the price goes up. Without further delay though, guys, let's talk about the course for this year's 3M Open. Before we hop into the course here, just want to give some of the specifics for the event. We have a full field of 156 golfers, the normal cut line of the top 65 and ties making the weekend, and this is the third time that we're seeing the event. We had Michael Thompson winning last year at the 3M Open, just after the return of golf from COVID, and we also had Matthew Wolff winning the inaugural iteration of this event back in 2019. There's 3 weeks left until the FedEx Cup playoffs as well. You had the FedEx St. Jude. You also have an alternate event that week. I believe there's another alternate event as well in that time period. So you have a lot of guys looking to get over the qualification lines, get in the top 125. get in the top 65, and then obviously the top 30 if they're able to the week after that. So a lot of drama there, a lot of narratives, and a lot that we're going to be looking at this week. In terms of the course, though, we have TPC Twin Cities. That is going to be in Blaine, Minnesota. It is a par 71, even though it is typically a par 72 for the members down there at Twin Cities. And it is a relatively long golf course. We have a 7,468-yard course on the official scorecard, which again has relative length. The only thing I'll say about that length is that there is elevation. Obviously, being in Minnesota, you're at about 2,000 feet of elevation, I believe, which is going to add 5 to 10% on your distances. So that relative length isn't necessarily going to be as effectively long. If we're taking a look at the grass type, we're going to be playing on bent grass for the greens and bent grass rough and fairways. They run extremely pure. A lot of the players at TPC Twin Cities last year raved about the putting surfaces, said it was one of the best that they've ever put on. Again, it's a relatively new course. It was founded in around 2015, I believe. I may have opened in 2016. And as a result, you have a very pure running golf course. You have a lot of people that weren't good putters, people that really weren't really good with their short game, do exceptionally well. People like Emiliano Grillo said a lot of it had to do with just how pure the greens were. Eventual winner Matthew Wolff in 2019 said they were the best greens he's ever played on. So a lot of the putting this week is going to be diminished. You had a lot of people that weren't good on the greens do exceptionally well, and I think that has a lot to do with the consistency at TPC Twin Cities. It was designed by Arnold Palmer. He's designed numerous golf courses across the nation. Some of them are extremely difficult, like we see at the API down in Bay Hill. But up here at TPC Twin Cities, this is more of a birdie fest. It was designed more for the members. It wasn't really designed to host a PGA Tour event. That's why they take it from a par 72 to a par 71. They have to adapt one of those par 5s to a par 4. The green sizes are large. They're 6,500 square foot on average, making them one of the biggest on tour. Again, more of a resort-style golf course. In general, this course is extremely easy. It has a rep of being an extremely golf course as well. But it is very sneaky in that it demands very good ball striking. There's plenty of water hazards. Again, it has relative length at the almost 7,500 yard range, and it's only a par 71. So instead of focusing on birdie or better percentage, putting like we typically do at Birdie Fest, this week we're going to be looking a lot more at ball striking. Like I said before, the grass, the putting greens are extremely consistent. People make a lot more putts than they're used to, and we saw a lot of mediocre putters like Tony Finau, Max Homa, Charles Schwartzel, Charles Howell III, and Emiliano Grillo, like I mentioned before, all finished top 3 or better last year. What do they all have in common, though, other than not being great putters? They're all great ball strikers. They're people that give themselves plenty of opportunities. They don't spray it off the tee. And when we hop into my key metrics here in a second, that's going to be very evident. And now for my top 3 key metrics for my custom modeling this week. At number 3, we have shots gained around the green. So believe it or not, around the green play is typically not something that I put into my analysis. If we take a look at how it correlates to success on any given week, it's one of the least predictive statistics that we have. But this week it's going to be a lot more important than we usually see. Putting is very de-emphasized, like I mentioned before. Some of the worst putters were some of the top putters in the field when it came to the 3M Open last year. And if we even look at the Open Championship last week, that was also a bent grass surface, something that runs very pure, de-emphasizes putting. Colin Morikawa finished number 1 in the field in putting. If you guys know, that's insane. He's somebody who's one of the worst putters on the PGA Tour. So that just shows the type of volatility that bent grass adds to the equation. And whenever we de-emphasize putting, there's a little bit more emphasis on around the green play. When players make their misses, they're going to make bogeys when they hit bad chip shots. Again, if they hit it within the 10 feet sphere, they should be making almost every single putt that they hit. So around the green is going to be a lot more important this week. Another reason it could come into play is that it's going to be very damp in Minnesota this week. It is the summer season. It's a little bit more wet than we saw that in the fall last year. So as a result, there could be some moisture. They could be lift clean in place in play. Anytime lift clean in place is in play, around the green game becomes extremely important. You can give yourself a perfect lie every single time you're around the green. And at TPC Twin Cities, there's also not much rough as well. Usually it's only a primary cut if there's any rough, and all of the areas around the greens are closely mown. So you're going to be taking advantage of that lift clean in place, and it's going to be a decent portion of my custom modeling this week, but not anything I go crazy with. And number 2, we have total driving. So these next 2 key metrics are going to be a majority of my analysis for this week. I'm talking like the 70 to 75% range in terms of my weighting. And it has to do with this being a ball striker's golf course. So like I mentioned before, there are a lot of water hazards at TPC Twin Cities. It's a relatively long golf course as well. So making sure you can put yourself in a scoring position off the tee, but also avoid that trouble is an absolute necessity. It's very overlooked in my opinion, especially when it comes to a birdie fest like this. Most people are focusing on their approach play, which is my number 1 key stat. We'll get to it here in a second. It's well warranted. And they're looking at putting though. If we take a look at the last year's leaderboard, again, none of the good putters were at the top of the leaderboard. It was all these ball strikers, people that were accurate off the tee, gained a lot off the tee. And if we take a look at the winner in 2019, obviously makes a lot of sense. Matthew Wolff gained over 10 strokes off the tee in that win. Went on to blitz the field, beating Bryson and Colin Morikawa by just 1 shot. Those 2 players obviously aren't in the field this week. We're only going to be seeing DJ and I believe a couple other studs in the field. So he went out and blitzed a very strong field, and he did it with his off the tee play. So that shows a lot of importance right there. If you take a look at the guys that finished T3 or better last year, every single one of them gained off the tee as well. So obviously you have to have it accuracy, you have to have some distance as well. The important part though is to have one of the 2 assets. Charles Howell III is not long by any means, but he gained off the tee with his accuracy. So you need somebody who's good with his total driving. And at number 1, we have shots gained approach, like I said. It's the most important statistic for any week in terms of golf success, and especially here at TPC Twin Cities. Last year, for my analysis, it wasn't something I emphasized as much as I should have. They have 6,500 square foot greens on average. They're relatively easy to hit. I didn't think it was going to be as big a deal, but now in hindsight, I was definitely wrong last year. They lack a lot of undulation. The reason why it's important to have very good proximity is that's how you're going to score this week. Like I said, putting is not as important. Some of the worst putters in the world are going to do great this week. But every single player that finished T3 or better last year hit more than 75% of their greens in regulation. So while that's a relatively high percentage, they were relatively easy to hit. They also all gained significantly on approach. Every single player that finished T3 or better gained over 3 strokes on approach over the entire week, which is not something we normally see. Normally we see some guys pop with their putters, some guys pop off the tee. But that wasn't the case last year, and I wouldn't even imagine for 2019. I don't have the shots gained data for the 2019 win, other than Matthew Wolff gaining 10 strokes off the tee. But I would imagine it's a very similar narrative as well. So the reason for that is you're giving yourself more opportunities to make those putts. If everybody's going to be making a lot of putts this week, the people that score the best are going to be the ones that have the most opportunities and the best opportunities. So this week, instead of prioritizing that putting, we're going to be prioritizing that proximity. And especially from the 150 to 175 yard range. Even though it's a relatively long golf course, you'd expect 175 to 200 to be more important. That's just not the case. You're getting a lot of extra carry off the tee due to the elevation. So as a result, you're actually getting a lot more shots in the 150 to 175 range. So just something I wanted to note, and it's going to be factored a little bit more into my modeling this week than usual. That's all for this week's research video. I'm going to have my top 6 golfers to target for Draftkings GPPs out later on this afternoon. We just got to wait for the pricing, the player poll, all that fun stuff, and I'll get that up as soon as possible. Let me know in the comments what you guys think the winning score this week's going to be for a chance to win a free month of my Patreon. If you guys can get that winning score right, I'll send you guys a code for a free month. So feel free to enter. My guess for what it's worth is going to be 18 under par. I think because of the damp conditions, people are going to be scoring a little bit better than what we saw last year, a little bit better than 2019 as well. And I think there's plenty of firepower in the field to go that low. As always, guys, make sure to like and subscribe if you guys enjoyed the content. It really helps me out with growing the channel. It also makes sure that you guys can catch my content as soon as it's posted. So it's a win-win. Make sure to do that. Good luck with your DFS lineups this week. Make sure to check out the rest of the content I have coming out as well. There's going to be my top 6 picks, obviously, my value plays on Tuesday, as well as my ownership reaction on Wednesday. So make sure to check those out. Tons of free, tons of good content, and I will see you guys later on today.